Welcome, residents, to Talk of the Town with Supervisor Dick Thurston. Normally we would be filming out at Carnwath with Front Porch Talks, but because of the threat of very nasty weather, we're here today in my office, and I'm serving the role of a thorn between two roses. So we're going to talk today with our two latest additions to our town staff and discuss some recreation, but particularly Community Day, give you an advanced preview with Cheryl, who's taken on the responsibility of being the assistant to Jessica, and then a familiar face to many, if not all, Barb Gutzler, who's serving now, working with me, helping out as my confidential secretary. So we're going to dig right in and chat a little bit. Barb, I'll just ask you each to introduce yourself briefly, and then I'll come back with some questions. And so why don't you start, Barb?
Okay. You sure you are not the rose between two thorns?
Yeah. No. I'm the thorn for sure,
Okay.
Especially the Republican Party committee. So.
Okay. Hi, I'm Barb Gutzler, known to many of you as the former town supervisor, and I'm pleased to be helping Supervisor Thurston in the role as confidential secretary. And many people have walked in, remembered me, and see that I am happiest in what I'm doing now, which is helping the residents and being the liaison between the supervisor and the town taxpayers. I'm very happy to be back here.
Thank you, Barb. And Cheryl, why don't you introduce yourself, a little bit of your background? And
Sure. I'm Cheryl Miggets. I've been the camp director for the town since 2018, and I'm very excited about taking on this new role and being able to do more with recreation year-round. I am also an adjunct instructor at Dutchess Community College in the English department, and I am a trustee on the Wappinger Central School District School Board.
Yeah. Now, it's really very excited to have both Barb and Cheryl join us. When I had Maria, my former confidential secretary, leave for a county job, I was scrambling to try to find someone that would fit all the needs and actually have also a little bit of a tough skin. And during the recent months, I was mentioning it, and actually Barb threw out initially in jest, but it came back to haunt her, and I said, sure, why don't you come on board this after Maria left us. And so she is here every day, and I'm very happy to have her here. Cheryl, who I've known for a while, also is we're very excited that she's joined us. As many of you know, having sent your children to summer camp. Cheryl, it's been since COVID, right? Before COVID, were you?
2018.
2018, yeah. So, when I started in this office, so with a little bit of interruption with COVID, but we had a very successful camp. I'll have her just briefly mention that and plans for the future. But more importantly, is when Todd Bowen left us to go to Habitat for Humanity, we had a void in our ability to provide our services uninterrupted, and so Cheryl was really the first and only one in our minds, to take on this very important position. And so halfway through summer camp, we were able to get her on board. So why don't we talk a little bit about, just briefly summarize summer camp, and what we may be looking at next year, because we had extremely popular, very full, but also full both from the point of view of our camp participants as far as our young folks, but also our counselors, correct?
Yes, we have actually had the largest single-site camp program in the town this summer. We had 150 children registered in camp, and we had another 63 children on the waiting list, which shows us that there's the need for expansion And so I know that the town board is looking at a couple of
Right.
different options as to how we would do that. We also, because of the number of children we had our largest camp staff ever this year. We had 16 counselors and 3 assistant directors at the beginning of the summer. So now one has become the camp director and the other 2 have continued. We had half of our counselors were returning counselors, and because of the need to increase the number of positions, half of our staff were new counselors, some of them Royce Ketchum High School
Yeah.
students who will probably continue with us for a few years. We had an exciting camp season where we had trips scheduled every week again this year. We went up to Hyde Park to the theater to see Ruby. I'm trying to think of the name of the movie. It was about Teenage Kraken.
Oh, okay.
And we went to Spins Bowling. We went out to the Millbrook Zoo last week. We took the older campers to play disc golf up at Wilcox
cool.
Park. And the younger campers had a really exciting field trip over to Schlothouse Park, where Backyard PE came in and ran some activities for them. Yesterday they had their end of the summer picnic. And today they're having ice cream sundaes.
Oh, well, that sounds
So,
great.
it's been a very, very full summer.
Yeah, outstanding. We'll come back to our fall, program, particularly Community Day. As Barb introduced herself, she's been able to bring a lot of value to the job because she knows everyone in the town, knows how to help get things done. I have continuous meetings, it seems, nonstop, and so our phones, instead of waiting for me to respond to a phone call when Maria wasn't here, Barb's picked up the phone regularly and is really able to help out our folks. Tell me, Barb, what is the most enjoyable and the least enjoyable part of your daily routine? Not so routine.
There is no least
Yeah.
enjoyable part, and I really mean that sincerely. Probably the most enjoyable part of the day is when a resident comes in or calls and asks for help of some sort. I know either if I cannot solve the problem for them right away, I can find some resource for them. In a couple of instances, it involved calling our state assemblyman's office because their
Right.
issue was something involved with the state, and I couldn't do anything immediately here. But just being of service, we're still a small town, even though we are, 26,000 residents.
30,000.
30,000. We've
30,
gone up
the
in the
latest
last few
numbers,
years.
yep.
We still are a small town in the sense that people get to know one another. We see one another at church, in the supermarkets, and talk. So to help your neighbor is probably the most rewarding thing. When I was town supervisor, that's what I enjoyed most. And sitting out there in that front office, nothing's changed in the joy that I get from the job. But probably if I had to pick the least enjoyable, it's the fact that my doctor told me to cut down on my caffeine, so I can't have that second cup of coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
But and I just want to compliment Cheryl on what she said about the camps and all the activities there. The recreation activities here in Wappinger are fantastic, thanks to people like Cheryl and Jessica and everybody else
Yeah.
who makes that possible.
Right. No, exactly, and I think that, as Barb said, that our job doesn't end when we are in town hall. Actually, this morning I was stopping to get an iced tea for Jesse, our videographer, and I think 2 residents, stopped me, and we're chatting about various things here in the town. And the other day when I was at Duncan near Falls Diner in that area, DeGarmo Plaza, I had one actually asking about summer camp. So I shared with them kind of my perspective, and I think those of some of the board members, if not all, that we do need to look at how we can expand perhaps to other sites. We basically outgrown Martz Field with the number of folks there, and we do have certain restrictions based on Department of Health and other criteria. We're regularly under review, which is a good thing. Cheryl works very closely, as does Jessica, with the various agencies that are responsible for providing health, safety, and guidance for these programs. So, as we all know, we have a number of other parks. We have a number of other focuses that are in different parks specific. So we're looking at how we can reduce that waiting list, or maybe bring it down to zero, since the popularity of the programs. We're no longer a babysitting service. We actually do have a very important program that complements what the family does, what the schools do, and provides, I think, an outlet for release also of some energy in the summer. Talking about energy, Cheryl's putting a lot of energy now into preparing for our Community Day celebrations on the weekend of Columbus Day weekend. Columbus Day is what, the 9th? 9th this year. So Cheryl, why don't you give a little overview of Community Day as you see it playing out, and talk a little bit about some of the things that you're planning for it.
Sure. First, I want to go back to what Barbara said about the small town feel in the town of Wappinger, because Community Day is one of those events that really is like the old-fashioned town carnival, and there are activities that can bring people together. I have been reaching out to people the past 2 days for our parade. We want to bring in some exciting bands that are going to be entertaining for the people. We also want to involve as many facets of the community as we can. I have reached out to both high school principals and to the fall athletic coaches, because while Royce Ketchum High School is in the town of Wappinger, we have residents who attend both high schools, and I would like to make it inclusive for all of the town of Wappinger residents. So we've issued invitations to all of those groups to participate in our parade. Where I'm currently reaching out today to a variety of cultural groups so that we can get a lot of the many cultural flavors of the town involved in the parade. We have several food trucks lined up for the weekend, so there's going to be a great variety of food, and we're working on getting vendors to come in so that we can get a lot of information about programs and services that are available to town residents, and also to give some of our town residents who have their own their own businesses a chance to get out and talk to the public and get their information out to us.
And in fact, I think we are looking at Community Day certainly focused on the 4 days, but as we try to do more community related activities throughout the year that kind of expand out of Community Day, having Cheryl as full-time assistant to Jessica really adds a whole new facet to what we're able to do. So we also look for volunteers, hope that many people that would like to help out. I guess we'll still have our fireworks, maybe the bonfire and some other new events.
Yes, we do have the bonfire scheduled for Friday evening.
Okay.
And we're working on the fireworks for Sunday evening. Like I said, the past couple of days, the parade has been the focus because we want to make that the key event of the weekend, because it brings everyone together.
And on the parade, if there's any of our viewers that are interested in participating, putting together a float of different themes, we really welcome that. And so you can call Cheryl at the Recreation Department, or you can call Barb here in Town Hall. When you look forward to the next few months, what is the main thing that you want to do? We've talked about different projects. I'm sitting here because we have a lot on our plate to get done and to continue through the end of the year. So what are you looking at as being perhaps a great opportunity for you to further help?
Well, this is the busiest time of the year because we have budget coming up. And I can recall starting in September, actually even in August.
Yeah, that we're starting now.
Right, that you sit down with the town comptroller, formulate the budget, and then you have to present it to the town board, and then work out all your dates for the hearings on it, budget reviews, so that you can present to the public the best budget possible, the least fiscal impact there.
Right.
You know, we have kept, you, and the town board supervisor, have kept town taxes in line. And that's our goal, because with the small town feel, we want to be sure that we keep this town affordable.
Right.
That people can live here and yet still give the best services that we can. And we
Exactly.
give very, very good
Yeah,
services here,
right.
between the recreation opportunities, highway,
Yeah, our code folks
absolutely, the
helping work.
code enforcement, you know, and even, you know, with people becoming more eligible for the STAR exemptions and advanced STAR, they can go right to the assessor's office and have an explanation given so they can understand. That's what Wappinger
Right.
is about.
Yeah.
Helping
Yeah.
one another.
Yeah.
And if I can be selfish for a moment
Sure.
and just add one more thing to
Sure.
my favorite part of the day,
Add one more thing.
it's doing my fashion show.
Yeah, well, I was going to
Every-
mention
go-
that
go
next.
right
You know,
ahead.
so, you know, one of the aspects of this that I told Barb when she started, she needed to continue with her fashion statements, color coordination. Today, it's everything from the shoelaces all the way up to the top of the head, and also, in that spirit, I've been trying to get away from some of the ties and then use since I've lost a little bit of weight, wear some other more colorful shirts as well. But getting back to the programs, of course, Barbara and I are seniors, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Donna Lenhart, who heads up our senior program, and really does an amazing job. I think Cheryl's working with her, Donna, on other new programs that we can do that are town-wide. But Barbara has also, I think, one of the things that we want to do with Donna is big into pollinators and pollinator gardens and so forth. But I was going to start to say, Barbara, with all her colorful attire, she's actually a fond lover of butterflies. Mm-hmm. And in fact, we've talked about for years, a butterfly garden, whether it's at Carnwath or at a Schlott House. And Donna's working on that, especially at Carnwath. But I think one of the programs that we also want to look at with respect to summer programs is perhaps something that's focused on parks. I've had various organizations such as the Randolph School wanting to do something with respect to environment, nature. We have Reese Park, which we have to repair the footbridge, for which we got a grant. But when you look at how we might segment some of the park, and maybe work on a summer program or a combined program, what are some thoughts that you might have?
Well, there is a tremendous opportunity for growth in programs. I've spoken with Jessica over the past couple of years about ideas for incorporating nature and gardening into camp
Right.
programs, and looking for a way that we can do that successfully. Reese Park, I believe, is underutilized.
It is, totally.
And I would love to see some new programs
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Volunteers can really go a long way in helping us
Exactly.
establish programs, and then those programs can draw in the residents to utilize them and grow the
Right.
programs. And so I really do think there's a tremendous opportunity for expansion.
Exactly. Yeah. And a good example, and I'll come back to you with some closing comments, but a good example of volunteers but doing some of it is our Seniors Gardening Club. And if you've come by, Town Hall, or if you can stop by Town Hall, you'll see on the basically it's the south east corner of the Town Hall property, the main property, a beautiful raised garden, bed, arrangement colors that are great. Hopefully, will be seasonal. That's our Senior Garden Club. Also, when you go in through the the east side of the building. They had beautiful, flower boxes with petunias and other flowers, and also are helping to maintain the entrance, the walkway up, to our gazebo where we hold weddings. I think just yesterday we had, I think since I've been doing weddings for town hall, and then staff has been helping, we've now had 150, weddings since COVID, has ended, and so it's really quite a popular, program, gardening, getting our seniors also continuing to be more active. And speaking of seniors, closing remarks, Barb.
Yes, from the senior citizen. I just want to piggyback for a moment on, you're talking about Reese Park. And one of the goals I had, unfortunately, I did leave office, was to turn that into some kind of environmental education.
That's what we're
because we're talking about, whether we believe or not, global warming, climate change. The bottom line is that we as a community have a duty to to be stewards of the environment.
Right.
And I think Reese Park is an ideal place.
It is.
Where we could have environmental education, work with scouts, work with schools, anything to use the park and to teach people about nature.
Yeah.
And as I said, as our duties as a steward. So you mentioned as a senior citizen, I'm glad that we have an active senior
Yes.
center here. So when I finally retire again, Mr. Supervisor, I was retired and then I made the joke and here I came. There's going to be a lot to do.
There is.
Between the senior trips, the senior association. They don't let me in the gardening club. I kill everything I touch.
But Karen could.
But yes, my friend Karen can handle that, absolutely. There's just so much to do in Wappinger. We are blessed to be in a good community with dedicated workers
Absolutely.
and good leadership here.
Thank you. So residents, a lot, to get involved with. We have some exciting programs going out through the end of this year. I'm sure will be continued. And we look forward to seeing you around. If you have any questions, stop by Recreation Department. Jessica, Cheryl and Donna, will be sure to help you. Here, for general questions or specific need for help and assistance, come on by. Barbara will first greet you, and if she can handle it, I've asked her to pick up, that because of her knowledge, and then if not, then we'll work together to get it resolved. And of course, if you want to come in and see me, the door is always open, as Barb can tell you. So until soon, please stay safe and remain well. Thank you, and have a great day.